Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at ASP Isotopes. It is time for another update, and today we'll be discussing the extension to the downside which followed as expected, but it is actually gaining even more strength, which we will need to be discussing. We will need to be looking for further extensions to the downside, which are at the moment still likely. But before we get there, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are basically tracking a larger 5-wave move to the upside to be developing in the green interpretation, where we have a wave 1 complete, a wave 2 complete, and now we are looking for the third wave to the upside, within which we are looking to develop an ABC pattern. Now, within this structure, we have a couple of scenarios that we are tracking, where in white we have here a wave A up, a wave B down, and we are looking for the wave C. And in the yellow interpretation, we are tracking a larger wave A, where this completed in an ABC, and then only now are we really looking for the wave B correction. And I have to say, none of these scenarios fit too perfectly on this chart, but neither do others. This is probably the most likely interpretation I can follow, at least in a bullish scenario at the moment, where I probably prefer here the yellow scenario over the white slightly. But in the end, we will need to be patient to see how this overall structure develops, because if this really is a 1-2 setup, we do have certain expectations for the follow-up wave 3 to the upside, Then in the end, it could be a larger ABC pattern, in which case, in fact, the white scenario could overall fit better, but not for the green interpretation. For the green interpretation, we will probably end up following the yellow scenario if it really is to play out in the green scenario. Now, with that said, we can move here into the slightly smaller time frame, and we still have the same areas of support for this larger correction that we are tracking, where in white we are tracking a 1-2 setup, and in yellow we are looking for an AB setup, Now, in the white scenario, we expect to find support and create the reversal to the upside before breaking the 78.6% retracement at $4.9 level. Where in the yellow scenario, we have a lot more room to move within before we need to disconsider this interpretation as likely, and it would allow the correction to go as low as the $2.9 level before questioning the probabilities or the likelihood of this scenario playing out. So far, we are holding both areas of support at the moment, and even here in the white scenario, we can tell that we have gotten to the first level of support in a pretty sharp movement before getting our initial reaction, and then the 50% retracement, the second level of support, also did prove useful. It did create a couple of reactions in this area, and we are still considering here the white scenario as possible. It is just not the preferred interpretation within the larger third wave to the upside in green, but honestly, again, not even the yellow scenario I really expect it to reach the ideal targets. In the end, I have to say, it is a high likelihood that this will turn into an ABC structure, and we won't necessarily get to the third wave targets, because those are quite extended, and even within the movements that we have already done, we haven't gotten anywhere close to the ideal target, the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, the $120 level, where as if this was an ABC structure, we would really only have expectations maybe for the 100% extension. That would be the ideal target, but it is much closer, and it is not as high of a requirement to really get there, which is why, in the end, we may be looking for a slightly different pattern. If we don't find enough strength, we will be looking for that scenario in the near future, but for now, we are still tracking these ideas. Now, within the small time frame in this area, we have been looking for further extensions lower, as I was mentioning, and we were looking for an ABC structure to develop very likely, especially because within this initial movement down, we had a 5-wave move to the downside, and after the 3-wave correction in a wave B, we were expecting an additional 5-wave move to the downside. Now, within this structure, I was rightfully looking here for a possible ABC movement to be unfolding, which seems to really be the case, because technically this could work out even within an impulse, but even within an impulse, I wouldn't necessarily consider this a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th. I wouldn't necessarily look for this movement to the downside as the wave 5, and even if it were, if it really is an impulse itself, well, I would still expect quite further extensions. Yeah, as I am even here in this wave C that we are now tracking in green. Now, since we have pushed into the area of resistance and we have gotten rejected as expected, we can now remove it. It's not really useful anymore. And within this wave C to the downside, I am still actually looking for another low to be likely at this point. Yeah, I would consider this structure to the downside as a 1, 2, a third wave down. I'm looking for a fourth wave up and then a fifth wave to the downside. But I wouldn't really expect this to complete the entire correction. Yeah, I would rather see it more likely than not to only complete the larger wave 3, and then I would still like to see a fourth and a fifth wave to the downside at the very least. Yeah, in the scenario of developing this movement as an impulse, we would really be looking here at a double 1 2 1 2 setup, then a third wave down. This would need to be tracked as an impulse as well. Yeah, this entire structure. And then after this third wave is done, we would still need actually a couple of 4-5-4-5 patterns to have the full structure. And if we really build such a pattern, I would really have to question and find it even more likely that this may be building an impulse overall to the downside, where this would be a 1 2 3, and even after this third wave would be done, we would still be looking for a fourth and a fifth. So this chart is getting into a worrisome territory based on the structure, but as I always say, we should be trading the levels, not the count, because yeah, sometimes we get distortions, and in the end, this could still work out, maybe even as a WXY, in which case this structure could be enough, could be complete in an ABC structure, where yeah, after completing the wave C to the downside, we may have a full count. Now, since in the count this isn't the preferred interpretation, this is rather likely than not a 5-wave structure to the downside, it is time to be very careful on this chart. And even though we are in deep areas of support, especially in the white scenario, we should be prepared, at least for now, for further extensions to the downside, especially as long as we don't manage to break relevant areas of resistance. Now, as I was saying, right now we are tracking this wave C, within which I am looking for a 5-wave move to the downside to be forming, within which I would expect now in this wave 4 to find resistance at the levels here between the 23.6% retracement, that is the beginning of resistance for the wave 4, at the $6.2 level, all the way up to the 61.8% retracement at the $7.5 level. Now, of course, we will be tracking this still as part of the green scenario. Yeah, I forgot to change the color. And as long as we don't manage to break here above the 61.8% retracement, I am still looking for further extensions lower within a fifth wave. Yeah, if we manage to build such a structure that would allow a break above this level, and we manage to build something like a 5-wave move to the upside, the probabilities would heavily shift in favor of already having a bottom in place. But for now, we can only see that we have pushed into the 23.6% retracement, the first level of resistance, a couple of times, yeah, and we got rejected both times. Right now, we are basically into this level, and if I were to be looking for a wave 4 in this area, I could easily see an ABC pattern forming, and for the wave C, I would be looking here for an ideal target at the 100% extension of the wave A at the $6.6 level. But again, it is an ideal target. It doesn't need to get there, and it doesn't need to stop there. And yeah, this structure would unfold in something like an ABC movement, basically. And yeah, we can even look here in the very, very short time frame, where in the wave C, I could argue that we have a 1, 2, a third wave that honestly could still be ongoing, and then we could be looking for a fourth and a fifth to complete this larger structure in the wave C, yeah, the ABC pattern. Now, in this case, we might not even get to the 100% extension if it follows as seen within this structure, unless this third wave manages to extend even higher. But for now, we don't have enough data to judge too much about those structures. Yeah, it is on too small of a time frame to really tell too much about the pattern that is unfolding within this area. But I'm looking again for an ABC structure overall to be unfolding in this area. And for now, yeah, we are still looking for lower prices on this chart, unlike many others where we already have our initial 5-wave structure to the upside. Here, clearly, there is a lot more weakness, and we should be prepared for further continuations lower. as long as we hold here below the resistance area. And again, if we break here above the 61.8% retracement, it is not a signal that this structure, this correction is done. It doesn't look too good just yet. It seems that it still wants to go lower. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover. And I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.